and welcome to day 8. Yes, 8 is great. 8 is great. Yes, we're now here at day 8 of story time as we're considering the stories and the amazing adventures of Oliver Hill, a book that was written by myself and Diane Lampy, along with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, to bring principles of success to you at any stage of life, really. Written in children's story form, but guess what? Even as adults, we learn very well through stories. So I'm super excited that you're here joining me today for day 8, because the story that we're going to be considering today is a very special story. It is called The Town of Lost and Found, and it teaches the principle of enthusiasm. And there's actually a story behind the story, which I'll share with you once we've actually considered the story. So this is The Town of Lost and Found. And we're doing 17 stories over 17 days. So I'm so excited that you joined me today. So, fear and famine filled the town of Lost and Found. Wherever you looked, no food was around. The farmer's son Oliver saw his mother in tears. He wanted to fix it and get rid of her fears. Remembering his grandfather's story about a seed that grows when fed, not with water, but love instead. He dug out the seeds from a secret chest, excited and ready to save his town. Oliver ran screaming and shouting, "Look what I found!" The people scoffed and laughed and shooed him away. The young man Oliver decided, "I'll do it anyway. If it is to be, it's up to me," Oliver said enthusiastically. In a hurry, he ran home as fast as he could, knowing that he could do so much good. Holding each seed in his hand, eyes closed tight, he sang the song with all of his might. O seed, I am grateful to thee. I give you all the love I have within me." That night, as he laid his head upon his bed, his burning desire was for his town to be fed. By morning, the seeds started to sprout. As the postman passed, he began to shout, "Look, I can't believe they're really out." Oliver exclaimed, more love is what we need to make them grow faster indeed." The postman then spread the word from house to house. The more love you give, the more the seeds will sprout. Oliver went on to save the town. They were no longer lost, but finally found. So Oliver went on to save his town. And this story of the town of Lost and Found teaches the principle of enthusiasm. And so let's dig a little bit deeper into what enthusiasm is. It says it's the feeling that you have when you really want something or are very excited. It's an intense emotion that comes from inside of you and can be felt by others around you. It can be seen in the joyful way you approach your day or the things that you are doing. So I have a question for you. What was Oliver extremely passionate about? And I want you to leave your answer in the comments below. And my second question for you is, what is something that you are enthusiastic about? And in what ways do you express your enthusiasm? I cannot wait to hear what your answers are. And I also promise to share with you the story behind this particular story of the town of Lost and Found. And this is actually the story that began this whole journey of the creation of this book. As a student of Napoleon Hill's work, from Thinking We're Rich to the Law of Success, and knowing that those principles are lifelong principles that when applied can help you achieve anything, literally anything that you desire. because they are based upon very ancient principles, even applied to today. And I went to a training because I am a certified Napoleon Hill leader, and so I was at one of the trainings, and we were in French Lick, Indiana, and we were in a class, and we were given an assignment to write a one-page children's story based upon a principle of success that was assigned to us. And so I get this little slip of paper, and I mean, the paper was probably no bigger than like this, and it had on it a number 10. And I look at this paper and I look at the number 10, and I was like, ooh, 10. I was like, that's enthusiasm. I was like, that's my favorite principle. I'm like, perfect. I get to write a story on it. And we had to pick a writing partner. And so we had all of the other students were lined up in the class, and I saw Diane Lampy and across the room, and I was like, that my partner, come on, let's go. So we literally had an hour to write this story. So we go up to our hotel room and we start writing, and we're like, okay, we gotta write a story on enthusiasm. And it started coming out in this like rhyming format. So it was like, okay, let's go with this. And so we end up writing the story, The Town of Lost and Found. Now our hour is up, our break is over, it's time to go back to class. We go to class, and we, as they're calling up each group to share their story, we get up, we share our story with the class, and the response was overwhelming. And we both looked at each other and we were like, I think we have something here. And so after the class was over, the then director of the foundation, one of the executive directors, Judy Williamson, comes up to us, and she was like, look, we thoroughly enjoyed the story that you created, and we want to be able to give these principles of success to children around the world, and we have an assignment for you. And it was very similar to kind of like the assignment that Napoleon Hill received from Andrew Carnegie. And he said, we would love for you all to take all 17 of these principles and put them into the same kind of rhymed format. And it was an honor to be asked to do that. And we're like, we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know what would happen with it, but here's an opportunity. And we did that very thing, and now have in publication and available to children and families and individuals around the world, because this book is actually also published in Spanish as well, which is super cool. But what was interesting is, after we got up and read the story and we sat down, other groups got up, they read their stories, and there was another group that got up and they read a story on enthusiasm. And I was like, wait, we all just got one principle, and we got the principle enthusiasm, so hold up, how did they get the same principle that we got? I go back to that little slip of paper and I look at it, and I look at the number 10 that's on there, and I go to the list of principles, because there are 17 in all, as we are reviewing over these 17 days. And I go down the list of principles, and guess what number 10 is? Principle 10 is accurate thinking. It is not enthusiasm. So I knew in that moment that there was nothing but God. That I had a blinder that got put onto my eyes in that moment for me to see what I needed to see and understand what I needed to understand to be able to create the story that we did based on the principle of enthusiasm in that time frame, to be able to, the domino effect of all the actions that came down to the fruition of this book. Because when we sat down to actually write the story on accurate thinking, which we'll consider 2 days from now, on day 10, the story for accurate thinking, it took us 2 weeks to write this story. So it was like things aligned for us the way they need to, in accordance with our desires, in accordance with our purpose, and what we came here to this planet to do. So the dreams and goals and the things that you are enthusiastic about, the things that you're passionate about, even though they may not seem like they are falling in line in the time frame that you want them to, know that they are coming, and they're coming right on time, every single time. That the chips will fall, the circumstances will align, the people will show up, the quarantine will disperse, we will be out and associating and socializing and working together again, because all that is supposed to happen shall happen for you, because life is happening for you. So thank you so much for sticking around and learning about the story behind the story. And I cannot wait to see you all tomorrow. Have an extraordinary day and make your greatest dreams come true, because you can.